In the shadow of the equatorial canopy, the river belongs to those who strike without warning. This is the Congo Basin, the second largest river system on Earth, where billions of gallons of water dictate the law of life and death. Beneath the surface, the giant otter shrew is an ancient specialist, navigating the murky labyrinth using whiskers that sense the faintest pulse of prey. They are rarely solitary. In this crowded, flooded forest, survival requires a tight-knit family unit working in flawless coordination.
By fanning out into a skirmish line, the pack herds elusive prey away from open channels and into shallow dead ends. In the high water season, this collective strategy guarantees an abundant harvest for the entire clan. Grooming is not just social, it is essential maintenance. Their dense enderfur must stay meticulously clean to trap insulating air. The flooded forest creates a dual world. Above, a bustling canopy kingdom. Below, an aquatic expanse, expanding with every torrential rain. Every day, the Alpha leads a systematic patrol, marking perimeter logs and reaffirming control over miles of flooded corridors. Chemical signals left on exposed logs warn rival clans that this tributary is fully occupied and fiercely defended. Nothing escapes their attention. Even heavily armored freshwater crabs, hidden deep within hollow root systems, are quickly extracted. High above the waterline, a hidden burrow protects the next generation, whose survival depends entirely on the pack's vigilance. When the waters are high and food is plentiful, life along the river is peaceful. But in the Congo, tranquility is always temporary. Beyond the safety of the shallow tributaries lies the deep main channel, a realm ruled by ancient armor and immense power. The slender-snouted crocodile, measuring up to 12 feet, this prehistoric hunter is the undisputed master of deep water. With sensory organs aligned across the top of its skull, it can see, breathe, and hear, while keeping 90. Its narrow, needle-lined jaws encounter minimal water resistance, allowing for lightning-fast lateral strikes that snap shut in a fraction of a second. In one swift motion, the prey is swallowed whole, fueling an apex predator that has ruled these waters for millions of years. When the crocodile drifts into the shallow backwaters, it crosses a dangerous, invisible boundary. Individually outmatched, the otter shrews rely on collective intimidation. They swarm the intruder, biting at its flank and tail. Frustrated by their agility and relentless mobbing, the crocodile yields the shallows and retreats to deeper waters. For now, the tributary remains secure. The balance of power in these flooded forests is maintained through constant vigilance. As twilight settles over the basin, the floodwaters reflect a sky on fire, heralding the arrival of the night shift. By night, the flooded forest becomes a realm of shadows, where specialized hunters use darkness as their ultimate camouflage. A specialized layer of crystals behind their retinas amplifies the faintest moonlight, turning the darkest night into crisp daylight. At dawn, thick mist wraps the river in silence, resetting the daily cycle of vigilance and hunt. With the first warmth of the sun, the otter shrews return to the water, ready to claim another day in their flooded kingdom. Play is vital training. In these flooded meadows, the young learn the precise maneuvers that will one day make them apex hunters. For as long as the floodwaters remain high, the giant otter shrews reign supreme over the tangled corridors of the Congo Basin. Yet in the deep channels, ancient giants wait with endless patience, knowing that every flood must eventually crest. In the heart of the high water surge, the flooded forest becomes an expansive underwater kingdom. Thousands of microscopic sensory receptors along its jaws detect minute pressure waves, making darkness and murky water irrelevant. Patience is its greatest asset. It can remain completely motionless for hours, waiting for the perfect alignment. In less than a tenth of a second, the needle-sharp teeth lock into place, offering zero chance of escape. With prey digested quickly in the tropical warmth, this reptile requires only a few substantial meals each week. Basking on muddy shelves raises its core temperature, optimizing metabolic efficiency and energy reserves. As the floodwaters crest, thousands thousands of square miles of dense forest transform into an interconnected aquatic maze. Seeking new hunting grounds, the crocodile probes deeper into the flooded interior, following scent trails into the shallows. The intruder is detected instantly. In these shallow nurseries, the otter shrew pack tolerates no competition. Using speed and numbers, the pack surrounds the larger predator, turning its cumbersome size into a liability. Recognizing that the energy cost of battle exceeds any potential reward, the crocodile concedes the boundary. In the deep channels, where currents run strong and space is vast, the crocodile remains entirely unchallenged. Night brings an uneasy truce across the flooded basin, a temporary pause in the constant struggle for dominance. As dawn burns away the night mist, new life stirs across the vast flooded savannas and papyrus marshes.
Entering this flooded arena is a sitatunga, a specialized marsh antelope that thrives where other herbivores drown. Uniquely elongated, splayed hooves act like natural snowshoes, allowing them to walk across treacherous bogs without sinking. For these marsh ungulates, the flood pulse delivers an endless feast of mineral-rich aquatic weeds and tender reeds. But where herbivores gather, predators follow. The crocodile stalks with supreme stealth, using deep water as its cloak.
An explosive strike, but the sitatunga's razor-sharp reflexes save it from the crocodile's deadly jaws. Instead of fleeing across open ground, the sitatunga employs an extraordinary defense: complete submersion. With only its nostrils and eyes breaking the surface, it can remain hidden beneath floating vegetation for minutes at a time. Unable to detect the hidden antelope, the crocodile turns back toward deeper channels. A masterclass in camouflage. In this flooded wilderness, adaptability is the ultimate shield against predation. For several months, the high water pulse sustains millions of creatures across an empire of water and leaves. Food is abundant, territories are secure, and the next generation grows strong in the bountiful shallows. Yet the equatorial climate knows no permanent state. High in the atmosphere, the relentless monsoon rains begin to falter. Millimeter by millimeter, the floodwaters begin their inevitable retreat, back toward the central river artery.
For aquatic hunters, the shrinking waters mean a narrowing realm and an urgent return to deep channels. The golden age of high water is drawing to a close. Soon, the river's masters will face their greatest test. As the floodwaters recede, the rules of survival will flip, opening the door for land-bound titans to claim the riverbanks. In the vast papyrus swamps of the Congo, the sitatunga marsh antelope rules a realm where solid ground is a luxury.
Their elongated, splayed hooves act like snowshoes, distributing weight across unstable floating vegetation. Abundant aquatic vegetation fuels the herd, but every feeding bout is measured against constant danger. Beneath the floating vegetation, the slender-snouted crocodile patrols the channels with lethal precision. Closing the gap inch by inch, the reptile positions itself for an explosive vertical ambush. A violent strike breaks the stillness, but the sitatunga's instinctive reaction denies the crocodile its grip. Rather than fleeing across open mud, the sitatunga dives completely underwater to vanish from sight. With only its nostrils breaching the surface, it transforms into an undetectable ghost among the weeds. Confused by the sudden disappearance, the predator searches the empty shallows before giving up the hunt. Emerging untouched, the sitatunga proves that mastery of the marsh is the ultimate defense. For now, the flooded swamps remain a haven of plentiful food and secure nursery grounds.
This vast, waterlogged expanse covers thousands of square miles, buffering its inhabitants against extreme climate swings. In the sheltered creek nurseries, giant otter shrews maintain a relentless hunting pace, keeping fish populations in check. Social bonds are reinforced during tranquil lulls, preparing the pack for the lean times ahead. High above the flooded forest, the rain-bearing winds shift, cutting off the basin's vital water supply.
Watermark rings on buttress roots mark the retreat, revealing the swift pace of the seasonal drain. Crocodiles abandon the drying shallows, riding the drainage currents before they become trapped in isolated mud pools. For the Otter Shrew clan, the shrinking waterways mean tighter territories and fiercer competition. The sitatunga herd begins its journey toward permanent lagoons, driven by the vanishing marsh waters. Within weeks, the boundless inland sea fractured into a maze of isolated pools and exposed sandbars. Millions of fish are trapped in dwindling oxbows, their escape routes completely severed by the receding water. For otter shrews, the contraction creates an effortless feast, but the abundance will be short-lived. Forced into shrinking sanctuaries, crocodiles must share cramped waterways, escalating territorial friction. Under the relentless equatorial sun, the soft marsh clay bakes into a fractured, impenetrable crust. On hard, dry ground, the situnga's specialized hooves become a handicap, stripping away its speed. From the shadows of the forest canopy, patient eyes watch the animals crowding the dwindling waterholes. The African leopard has arrived. As the water recedes, the kingdom of the river passes into the hands of the jungle's supreme stalker. Moving with silent agility, it utilizes fallen timber and riverbank drop-offs to remain unseen. At the water's edge, the trap is set. The rules of engagement have completely shifted. As darkness blankets the parched riverbed, the African leopard stands unchallenged atop the dry season hierarchy. As the dry season deepens across the Congo Basin, the river retreats into narrow, sun-baked channels. Vast floodplains that once supported endless aquatic life are reduced to fractured silt and stagnant pools. Trapped by receding channels, millions of fish find themselves imprisoned in evaporating puddles. For giant otter shrews, the seasonal retreat creates an effortless, concentrated feeding ground. They gorge on the easy bounty, but this sudden wealth will soon turn to extreme scarcity. In the central channels, crocodiles are forced into dense congregations, stripped of their open water advantage. Territorial tempers flare as every square yard of deep water becomes a contested battleground. For the sitatunga herd, the drying landscape forces them into the open, far from the protective swamp vegetation. Every drop of water comes with extreme risk. On dry land, they cannot simply dive and disappear. Above the waterhole, the African leopard calculates its approach with patient, deadly precision. Using bleached timber and riverbank drop-offs as cover, it closes the distance undetected. A single explosive leap will decide whether the hunter eats or goes hungry. In an instant, the big cat launches, closing the distance before the prey can find its footing. With ruthless efficiency, the leopard secures a lethal throat hold, ending the struggle in seconds. Possessing tremendous strength, the cat hauls its prize away from the open riverbed to feed undisturbed. Meanwhile, the shrinking waterholes leave even the largest crocodiles immobilized and dangerously exposed. With traditional prey becoming scarce, the leopard turns its gaze toward the most formidable quarry in the river. Approaching from directly behind, the cat exploits the reptile's limited peripheral vision. The reptile senses the danger a fraction of a second too late. Landing square on the armored back, the leopard delivers its signature crushing bite directly into the skull. With bite force exceeding 1,200 pounds per square inch, the cat pierces the brain case, ending the battle. Hauling a dead-weight reptile weighing over 200 pounds, the leopard claims the ultimate dry season triumph. Above the drying river, scavengers gather, signaling that the dry season has reached its absolute peak. With fish pools exhausted, otter shrews pivot to digging out buried river crabs from the dry gravel. Deep in the interior peat bogs, permanent groundwater provides a vital sanctuary for the sitatunga. To endure the scorching drought, many crocodiles retreat into subterranean mud burrows, entering dormancy. For now, the leopard reigns supreme, its power unchallenged across the desiccated basin. Yet, in the equatorial heart of Africa, no single predator holds dominion forever. High above the rainforest, monumental thunderheads gather, carrying the promise of total transformation. The dry season draws to a close. The Great Flood is about to return. Across the equatorial expanse of the Congo Basin, the atmosphere fractures under the weight of monsoon clouds. The first colossal drops strike the baked earth, releasing the pungent mineral scent of long-awaited rain. Within minutes, the canopy surrenders to a torrential deluge, channeling millions of gallons toward the river. Dry gullies instantly transform into roaring tributaries, carrying nutrient-rich silt into the main basin. Hour by hour, the river rises, reclaiming the sandbanks that held sway during the dry months. Deep within submerged burrows, dormant crocodiles stir, awakened by the sudden surge of fresh water. Buoyed by deep water, the slender-snouted crocodile reclaims its unmatched hydrodynamic grace. Liberated from stagnant mud pools, river fish disperse across thousands of square miles of flooded forest. For the giant otter shrews, the rising flood restores their supreme domain of roots and currents. Working in perfect synergy, the pack flanks, corners, and captures agile prey with effortless ease. For the sitatunga, the deep flood marks a return to safety, where their specialized hooves give them mastery. Driven from the riverbanks, the leopard must retreat to the trees, its dry season reign brought to an end. Adapting with supreme agility, the big cat shifts its focus back to the highland canopy. In the deep channels, the crocodile resumes its place as the invisible ghost of the Blackwater. With vast territory and abundant food restored, tension yields to an uneasy, balanced coexistence. The flood pulse is the beating heart of the Congo, an eternal rhythm that sustains the wild. In this ever-shifting kingdom, predator and prey remain bound to the rise and fall of the river. As night settles over the basin, the waters flow on. Eternal and untamed, dawn reveals a transformed world where every root and branch thrums with the renewed energy of water. With abundance restored, the next generation of otter shrews hones the vital skills of aquatic survival.
In the impenetrable reed beds, sitatunga calves take their first confident steps across floating vegetation. High water also signals the emergence of new life, as crocodile mothers carefully escort hatchlings to safety. In the trees above, the leopard thrives in its ancient domain, an unmatched master of the high forest canopy. Beneath the surface, the annual spawn begins, laying the biological foundation for the seasons ahead. Social bonds are strengthened through grooming and rest, cementing the pack cohesion vital for survival.
With endless space to roam, territorial conflict fades into quiet, unhurried coexistence. In this flooded sanctuary, the sitatunga thrives as the undisputed sovereign of the marshes. From its highland stronghold, the leopard's call resonates, a timeless voice of the African wilderness. Under a canopy of stars, the flooded forest rests, complete in its balance and boundless in its resilience. Here in the heart of Africa, the cycle endures, a testament to the unyielding power of the river. In the suffocating heat of the shrinking shallows, the leopard zeroes in on an unusual and formidable target. Deprived of deep water, the slender-snouted crocodile is robbed of its speed, its heavy armor now a burdensome anchor. Every muscle fibers coils with lethal intent as the cat gauges the angle for a single decisive strike. In a sudden explosion of power, the leopard launches across the shallows, striking from the blind spot behind the neck. The crocodile thrashes with prehistoric fury, but the cat's grip is unyielding, homing in on the base of the skull. With jaw pressure exceeding 1,000 pounds per square inch, the leopard delivers a lethal puncture directly into the brain case. Exhibiting astonishing physical strength, the predator hauls a carcass nearly twice its own body weight out of the mud. In the safety of the forest shade, the cat secures its prize, cementing its undisputed dominance over the dry riverbed. Across the wider basin, the drought reaches its absolute peak, compressing all life into ever-narrowing margins. For the giant otter shrews, survival becomes a desperate waiting game, confined to dwindling subterranean pockets. On hardened ground, the sitatunga's specialized hooves become a hindrance, leaving them exposed and clumsy. To survive the desiccation, surviving crocodiles enter estivation, shutting down their bodies in subterranean tombs. From high vantage points, the leopard commands the landscape, where every trail leads to its waiting ambush. The dry season is a ruthless filter, claiming the weak and transforming the riverbed into an arid graveyard. Every visit to the Waterhole is a gamble with life, where thirst forces animals into the predator's kill zone. Master of concealment, the leopard waits in total stillness, invisible until the trap is sprung. An explosive burst of speed triggers instant pandemonium as the herd scatters into the dense brush. A narrow escape for the antelopes, but in this parched arena, the odds remain firmly with the hunter. As another scorching day fades, the basin stands suspended between exhaustion and endurance. Under the cover of darkness, the otter shrews emerge, taking advantage of the cool night air to forage. For the big cat, the night is an open highway, patrolling its domain with effortless, silent grace. On the horizon, the atmosphere begins to shift, carrying the distant, electrifying promise of rain. Instinct alerts the herbivores first. The scent of incoming moisture heralds the end of their dry season trial. Deep beneath the earth, the pressure drop triggers an ancient reflex, awakening giants from their sleep. For the otter shrews, the rising gale brings renewed hope. The days of confinement are drawing to a close. Recognizing the impending transformation, the leopard yields the riverbed, retreating to its highland fortress. Towering storm fronts collide above the canopy, carrying billions of tons of water from the Atlantic. And then, with a thunderous roar, the sky opens, delivering the first strike of the Great Revival. Within moments, billions of gallons cascade through the trees, breathing life back into the parched earth. The river rises once more, resetting the eternal balance and restoring the flooded kingdom of the Congo. Spanning over 500 million acres, the Congo Basin forms the second largest tropical rainforest on Earth. Yet, the boundaries of this wilderness face steady encroachment as access roads slice through ancient groves. Seasonal fires, accelerated by human activity, erode the vital forest margins that regulate regional rainfall. For apex hunters like the leopard, expansive continuous territory is essential for maintaining genetic diversity. Within protected oxbows, sitatunga populations thrive, raising new generations sheltered from external pressures. As bioindicators, giant otter shrews require unpolluted headwaters, signaling the pristine health of this basin. Strict anti-poaching measures along key river stretches have allowed crocodile populations to steadily rebound. Indigenous rangers and scientific teams conduct daily river patrols, establishing vital community-led sanctuaries. Non-invasive camera networks provide continuous data on elusive species without disturbing natural behaviors. These records confirm that core predator populations remain robust wherever habitat corridors remain intact. High above the ground, scientists study the canopy's extraordinary capacity to sequester carbon and buffer global climate. Intact riparian zones guarantee the survival of delicate family units, sustaining evolutionary lineages found nowhere else. Mineral-rich forest bays serve as vital communal crossroads, drawing herbivore herds from miles around. Beneath the surface, the slender-snouted crocodile exercises supreme mastery, finely tuned for catching swift prey. Community-led reforestation programs actively restore degraded buffer zones, replanting thousands of native hardwoods each year. These green corridors re-establish vital migration bridges, reconnecting isolated animal populations across the river basin. With pathways restored, leopards reclaim ancient hunting grounds, securing the natural balance across wider ranges. In clean, protected tributaries, thriving otter shrew litters prove that nature rebounds rapidly when given space. As dusk settles over the papyrus marshes, the sitatunga herds find enduring safety in their aquatic sanctuary. For millions of years, these ancient reptiles have endured, guardians of a river system that outlasts every trial. Beneath equatorial skies, the basin breathes as a single living organism, its pulse tied eternally to the water. Every sunrise initiates an immense hydrological engine where millions of trees exhale the moisture of tomorrow's clouds. In this unbroken wilderness, the leopard reigns supreme, a master of stealth and timeless adaptation. In the rushing headwaters, the otter shrew navigates torrential currents with unmatched agility, securing its river realm. Generations of sitatunga thrive in the flooded wetlands, perfectly adapted to a life suspended between land and water. In the deep channels, the slender-snouted crocodile remains the prime guardian, maintaining the river's ancient predatory balance. From its smallest tributaries to its grandest channels, this great basin stands as one of Earth's crowning natural treasures. In this seasonal dance of rising and falling tides, each predator holds its rightful place in an unbroken continuum. Here, life thrives in astonishing diversity, a testament to the enduring power of natural adaptation and balance. As long as the rains fall and the river flows, the flooded kingdom of the Congo will endure, eternal and untamed. High above the equatorial canopy, colossal atmospheric currents converge, heralding the return of the great monsoon. The first colossal droplets strike the parched earth, releasing the rich scent of revived soil across the valley. Within minutes, the sky unleashes an ocean of water, washing away months of dust and stagnation. Dry ravines roar back to life, funneling billions of gallons of life-giving water back into the Great Basin. For the slender-snouted crocodile, the rising flood brings total liberation, restoring its deep-water hunting grounds. In the flooded shallows, the otter shrew pack reclaims the sprawling root tangles, coordinating hunts with seamless grace. The sitatunga herds spread across endless papyrus pastures, where tender aquatic shoots provide an abundant feast. Retreating to the lush canopy, the leopard watches over the flooded forest, awaiting the inevitable turning of the seasons. Beneath the surface, the flooded forest becomes a colossal nursery, sparking an explosion of aquatic life. Thousands of water birds arrive in synchronized flocks, nesting along swollen banks teeming with food. In this high water equilibrium, space is boundless, allowing every hunter to rule its specialized domain.
water becomes both a barrier and a sanctuary, granting herbivores a season of safety and renewal.
At its peak, the Congo River transforms the entire basin into a boundless flooded paradise, rich and untamed. In protected hollows, new generations emerge, carrying forward the ancient instincts of the river pack. Beneath the ferns, fragile hatchlings take their first swim, guided by an ancient mother whose lineage spans millennia. From its high canopy throne, the leopard reigns over a wilderness defined by eternal resilience and untamed grace. Every creature, from the smallest hunter to the greatest predator, plays its vital part in this grand